Well, uh, this is Phototech coming directly to you with another Nintendo NX rumor. This one is interesting, but it's not the most amazing. Pull out my handy dandy PS Vita, great for surfing the web. Uh, doesn't have that many games, but the games are decent. Uh, I just pissed off all the PlayStation Vita fans. Uh, here's the new rumor. Uh, It's a new day. Wow. Yes, it is a new day. Another Nintendo NX rumor. This information comes from a Reddit user named StemPack Vendor. Clearly a fan and of Hall. Clearly a fan of Fallout. This is a little bit of, considering the last few Nintendo NX rumors that had quite a bit of Fallout. So it's funny. Sort of a meta joke in a circle. And this gentleman claims that the Nintendo NX is slightly more powerful than the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4, not the PlayStation 4.5 or the PlayStation 4K. And I'm going to have another video on the newest rumor about that sucker right after this one, or at the end of this one, whenever I choose to do that. First and foremost, this gentleman states that the Nintendo NX unit has ARM architecture. ARM is a corporation. It's one of the largest cell phone component manufacturers in the world. Uh, and recently, the president of ARM claims that within about a year or two, cell phones are going to, the newest wave of cell phones will achieve console level quality graphics. Now, to say the least, it's a tiny screen, and we could debate about that little detail a little bit later. But gentleman says that it doesn't have the oval screen like the last few rumors. It has a standard rectangle. Interesting. Physical buttons with screen behind them. It doesn't have a form shifting screen, nor does it have touchscreen with haptic feedback. It's hardwired to the dev kit, which looks like a boring black box with some USB ports and a disk drive. However, the fakes does get a couple things right. It does have the scroll wheel shoulder buttons, but in addition to them, it has two regular shoulder buttons labeled ZL and RZ, headphone jack in bottom of controller. And reading this here, looks like someone saw the last two rumors, say, here's a bunch of issues with those rumors. I'm going to go make a rumor that sounds more credible than those guys. And they probably this person right here probably watched the Nintendo Enthusiast channel and read some of their articles and got some good points on what to not do when you're making a rumor. Here's some more details. I don't know if the NX is backwards compatible with the Wii U or the 3DS, not, but it doesn't look like it. The system is different enough from both that I think it would be hard to play games from other consoles. Well, validity of this point, it is quite possible because let's remember back to Satoru Iwata and Kimishima, and they both have said that the Nintendo NX is fundamentally something entirely new compared to the past few systems. And they're going with new architecture. Satoru Iwata was talking about the history of the GameCube family of systems. This is a very important point. The GameCube line, and I say GameCube line because I'm going with the originator of the systems and not the newest relative to it. There was the GameCube, the Wii, and the Wii U. The GameCube utilized IBM PowerPC CPU technology with ATI graphics card built in, which is now part of ADM. And what Nintendo did was simply get a more upgraded version of that for each of the generations. And I call it the GameCube family because the GameCube is the originator, Wii is a upgraded GameCube, and the Wii U is an upgraded Wii. So just like that. So in theory, you should be able to play your GameCube games with little problem at all on your Wii U if Nintendo enabled it. Because the CPU in the Wii U is nothing more than a jacked up GameCube CPU. Same basic CPU architecture, same basic. It's based on the same architecture as the GameCube. So there's literally no blockade other than what Nintendo kind of installed themselves. And many people, if you look up online, there's many soft and easy mods that enable GameCube playback on Wii U's. So if Nintendo, as they have stated before, is going with a new CPU architecture, a new line of CPUs, a new GPU technology, most likely with ATI, because Nintendo's been working with ATI ever since the N64. Yeah, I think they've been working with ATI ever since the N64, at least. So if Nintendo is going with a whole new line of technology, the backwards compatibility might be lacking. And considering that the PlayStation 4 doesn't have backwards compatibility, and the Xbox One has it patched in, Nintendo could be looking at that like, you know what? It was not a bonus for Sony to have backwards compatibility. So it didn't help them. Not having backwards compatibility did not hurt Sony. And because Sony did not have backwards compatibility and it did not hurt them, it further the reasons that there's really no necessity in having. I'm a little obsessive about things. I just had to get up and do something. It is to say that since 36 million people, it's probably a little bit more than that, over 36 million people who purchased a PlayStation 4 basically voted with their dollars for no more backwards compatibility in their systems. So, thank you very much, PlayStation fans, for screwing the pooch on that one. That and endless remasters, and the next system, PlayStation 4.5, basically being a PlayStation 4 remaster. So here's another bit of the details. The controller is sort of a game system in its own, but it's not a replacement for the 3DS. It works like a companion app on a phone. You can take it with you, control some things from your game, like how the VMU on the Dreamcast lets you take KOs with you and train it. That is really neat. I probably should have pulled out my VMUs. But what they're basically going with is that the controller is a small portable system, probably like a PlayStation Vita. Good chance. Something in that line. It's not that terribly powerful, but you can take miniature mini games with you to play on the go. Take your save files, put them on it, and continue along and trade items with people. And in theory, there's a really good idea that this may enable Game Freak and Nintendo to do a Pokemon game for the Nintendo NX console. And this is how it works. Sorry. This is how it could work. First and foremost, you buy your game, you select your version or edition. Like I want Fire and Red Inferno version. I'm just inventing a Pokemon game right off the top of my head. Let's go with Pokemon Red Inferno for the Nintendo NX. This is not a real game. This is just a hypothetical. And my buddy has Forest Green. And Forest Green. And we could carry along our portable NX units, put our Pokemon on the portable NX unit, and trade and battle wherever we go. And we go home, we link back up to our main system, we put our team back on the system, and we continue from there. The portable unit could be like a miniature a memory card in itself that enables people to just carry the game data along and play with people wherever they go. Go home, goof around on this main system with their game data, and have fun that way. So this person is pointing towards the Dreamcast VMU, and every time I say VMU, it's been a long time since anyone has ever actually played with a Dreamcast. I guess I could... Sorry for the mini jump cut, but a little Dreamcast fun time here. My cat is like, what the fuck are you doing? PlayStation VMU. Not PlayStation VMU. Dreamcast VMU. Sorry for the horrible slip. But this is basically the idea in which the person is comparing it to. This is a Dreamcast VMU. Visual, it stands for Visual Memory Unit. You can store your game files, your save files on this, and take them along, play little mini games, and when you meet up with a friend who wants to trade data with you, like with Old Tamagotchi and a few other games, you can hook the two together and trade back and forth. So, I got a blue, and I got myself the classic white. And that's a really neat port. A dual port, one male, one female. But anyways, the VMU just flips upside down, and you insert into controller, and you then have a screen in your controller. And first and foremost, next to the GameCube controller, this has to be easily one of my favorite controllers. There is some obvious design mistakes here. There's no second analog stick, and then there should be an extra set of shoulders up here, and you could play like that. I'm old Mega Man. I play like, you see my fingers. That's how I hold a controller. And that's really neat. You hold a controller that way because then you could hit hit all four buttons simultaneously, and you can rock your index finger over so you can hold the charge button on Mega Man X and jump and dash while you're holding charge, and you can flip around that way. So yeah, you could tell I play a lot of Mega Man. One of these days I'm gonna should pull out some Mega Man X3, play that, and just watch me. Well, pull out Mega Man X3, Mega Man X4, Mega Man X5, and just watch me just annihilate the crap out of enemies. Although I can't do that very long because my wrist issues. So here's on to the next thing. No one outside of Nintendo knows what the NX name is. It's still the NX here internally. So that is like a wow detail. Many comments on this form here. Basically, let's move on from that. I'm done looking at that. Uh, there are several good points in this. The person clearly has sculpted this rumor to reflect information that was stated by other Nintendo fans, several hardcore Nintendo fans. A very good channel is Nintendo Enthusiast. They are really good on this stuff. Uh, I can't remember the guy with the beard's name, but he's very knowledgeable in what dev kits look like and all the sort. But to be quite clear, a typical Nintendo dev kit throughout history is either a big, ugly square box, or in the case of some of the really early ones like NES, Super NES, Game Boy, they were literally a circuit board mounted to a base. I'm not joking. It's a circuit board. You have the controllers wired into the circuit board. The top of the circuit board is open. And in the case of the Game Boy one, it had a little screen soldered onto the circuit board. And it used NES controllers. I believe the Game Boy Advance one and utilized Super NES controllers wired into the circuit board. So, yes, a open circuit board with a plastic base with a screen soldered into it. That was a Game Boy dev kit. The dev kits are not that pretty. Let's be straight up. If you've ever actually seen a lot of Nintendo dev kits, they are the most utilitarian thing ever. And even with the early Nintendo Wii U dev kits, they were big, black, bland boxes that made the Xbox One look beautiful. I mean, like, the Nintendo Wii U dev kit looks like it's like this big by this big, and the controller is like a brick square, not rounded or sculpted like the new one, like the actual system one is, but it's just like looking like a miniature TV with some thumbsticks attached to it and buttons. So there. Uh, if you see really pretty Nintendo dev kits, Nintendo does not make pretty dev kits. They're all ugly and very, very basic. So, there. Uh, this person looks like he's basically just keeping close to the ground on his rumor. It has some USB ports, it has a disk drive. So according to this person, the Nintendo NX dev kit has a disk drive. That's kind of contrary to another rumor. Rumor slash that based off of the patent Nintendo released a long time, not released, but had quite some time back, of a system omitting a disk drive, which I theorize would be the return of cartridges. Cartridges are cool. We're basically at the technological point where if Nintendo really wanted to design a cartridge they could design a cartridge that could hold 10 Blu-rays effortlessly. It'll be expensive, but I can do it. Cartridge technology is at the point where you could buy memory, you can buy SD cards that hold more memory than three or four Blu-rays easily. There is 128 gigabyte and 256 and 512 gigabyte SD cards. Little SD cards about this big that are 512. Of course, those are 79. That is, the 128s and the 256s are typically around 70 to $80, and the 512s are over $100. So that would be a little expensive to manufacture a cartridge like that, but it's possible. And if Nintendo really wanted to just use a 32 gigabyte a cartridge using that kind of technology, they could, and the cartridge would probably cost something like $5 or $10 to make, which is more expensive than Blu-rays, which is basically $1. But there. So this rumor is, I pretty much hit several points on it. Is go back through it. Has physical buttons with the screen behind them. It doesn't have form shifting screen, nor does it have a touch screen with haptic feedback. Its hardware is a big ugly box with USB ports and drive. However, the fake does have a couple things in common. It has scrollable buttons. I I give this rumor a. It looks like it's a studied rumor compared. It's taking into consideration several facts that were pointed out as to why the last Nintendo NX rumors were completely fake. So, and the information it does provide is not substantial information. It pretty much is just looking at Nintendo patents and just going from there. The only thing that's outside of a Nintendo patent was the disk drive, the recent Nintendo patents, and the fact that they included the disk drive in this basically says they're just going with basic logic that would have a drive to put your games into. So I give this rumor a 3 out of 10. Because there's really not that much information. It's just very minimal. So, on to I'm going to make another video. So please leave information in the comments. I will just pull up my PlayStation 4K or PlayStation 4.5 update video rumors here. So information, and I'll make another video. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. Please tickle the subscribe button. Consider approving the video or disapproving, depending on how much you hate me ramble. And feel free to share this with your cat. I pretty much do that. Piercy makes Grumpy Cat. My cat Pierce makes Grumpy Cat look like a ball of sunshine. And also, I forgot. Don't forget, Bumble's Bounce.